Bellwork 13a. For questions 1 through 3, we are to find the X and Y intercept. Well, in the last lesson, we learned about X-Intercepts. We already knew about Y-Intercepts, but in the last lesson, we learned about X-Intercepts. If you're finding the X-Intercepts, we know that Y equals 0. And if you're finding the Y-Intercept, we know that X equals 0. So again, X-Intercepts, Y is 0, and for the Y-Intercept, X is 0. The last example in the comparing functions notes, the lesson 13 notes, was finding the X-intercepts giving equations that are in slope-intercept form. So they're in the form of y equals mx plus b. Well, if you look at questions 1, 2, and 3, they are in a different form. They are in the form called standard form. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. So this is going to be a little bit different. For y-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, it was nice because the y-intercept is already a part of that equation. The number that follows the x is the y-intercept. To find the x-intercept, we plugged 0 in for y and we solved. Well, that's what we're going to do here. We're going to leave it in standard form, and for the x-intercepts, we will plug in 0 for y. For the y-intercepts, we will plug in 0 for x, and we'll solve to find the other variable. So let's start. Well, first of all, pause your video. Make sure you have everything written down that I have. Also, take a moment and in this space here, go about halfway and draw a line across your paper. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just make sure we're separating the x-intercept from the y-intercept. Okay. Number 1. We are finding the x-intercept, and if we're finding the x-intercept, y is 0. So we plug 0 in for y. Well, when you plug 0 in for y, that's -2 times 0. Anything times 0 is 0. Well, do I need this? Do I need the plus 0 here? No. In other words, when you get 0, I can get rid of that and just call this 3x equals -12. This term goes away. So I have 3x equals -12. Divide both sides by 3. And we have x equals -4. So again, you plug 0 in for y, and that means that y term goes away. Notice how, if you look up at the original equation, when we plugged 0 in for y, this ended up going away. So we no longer see the y term. So if I cover that up, it's just 3x equals -12, which is what we have there in the middle. So again, when you plug 0 in for a variable, that term is going to go away. Well, for our final answer, we want to write it in as an ordered pair, and y is 0, x is -4, so the ordered pair would be -4, 0. So again, we plugged 0 in for y. The y term goes away. All we have left is the x term and the constant. 3x equals -12. Divide both sides by 3, and x equals -4. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make these shorter, easier. In other words, we're going to take the equation and we're just going to eliminate the y term. When you're finding the x-intercept, we're just going to eliminate the y term. So it's going to look like 4x equals 16. So this term right here goes away, and we've got 4x equals 16. Divide both sides by 4. And we get x equals 4. So the ordered pair for this answer is 4, 0. Again, we're going to plug that 0 in for y, so the y term goes away. What is left? 4x equals negative 36. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. Forgot to cancel out my 4s in the last one. Negative 36 divided by 4 is negative 9. So the ordered pair would be negative 9, 0. So again, my final answer for number 1 is negative 4, 0. My final answer for number 2 is 4, 0. My final answer for number 3, negative 9, 0. All right, so pause your video, make sure you have all of that written down, and that would be the X-intercepts for 1, 2, and 3. If you have any questions, let me know.